ERi-TV news broadcast crew and I, Delete Sahaya, are now ready for your daily news briefing at 10:30 local time. But first, let us catch up with the major headlines. International Women's Day celebrated in the national level. International Women's Day celebrated in Assab subzone. U.S. threatens Russia with new sanctions. And days of clashes kill more than 300 civilians in Syria. On our local news, International Women's Day was celebrated with great enthusiasm at the national level today at Expo Compound in Asmara under the theme Women's Emancipation for All-Rounded Development. The event was attended by senior government and PFDJ officials as well as invited guests. During the event, a message from the National Union of Eritrean Women was presented in connection with the International Women's Day. The message highlighted that this year's celebration is particularly significant as it coincides with the time when the Eritrean people have successfully overcome numerous challenges and external aggressions aimed at destabilizing the countries in alignment with the regional and global developments. It also noted that significant progress is being made in the national development programs, marking a transition to a new phase of growth. Furthermore, a message emphasized that increasing access to education for Eritrean women reflects a promising future, while notable progress has been achieved in eliminating harmful practices through greater awareness and participation of Eritrean women. The event featured cultural and artistic performances that showcased a role and contribution of Eritrean women in the national affairs. In a related effort, women from 13 subzones of the central region donated 163 units of blood on 5th and 6th March to support the National Blood Transfusion Service. The International Women's Day was celebrated with enthusiasm in the port city of Assab. The event featured a march in which female members of Eastern Command of the Eritrean Defense Forces and residents of Assab took part. Cultural and artistic performances illustrating the significance of the day were also presented. The event was attended by Ambassador Mohammed Said Mantai, Governor of Southern Red Sea Region, and Colonel Tahaya Waldo, Chief of Staff of the Eastern Command. Ambassador Mohammed Said Mantai called on the continued organization and empowerment of women to enhance their overall capacity and active participation in all sectors of the national development. He also urged women in the region and other stakeholders to contribute the efforts aimed at eradicating harmful practices that hinder women's progress. During the event, awards were presented to winners of various competitions held in connection with the celebration. A vocational training program was provided to 208 college students, including 13 female students of Orota College of Medicine and Science and College of Business and Social Science. The 3-month training covered various subjects including sign language, Arabic language, computer technology, photo editing, and electronics. Dr. Imane Siyum, Dean of Orota College of Medicine and Science, commended the National Union of Eritrean Youth and Students for organizing the program. He emphasized that such training initiatives play a significant role in enhancing students' overall capacity and called for similar programs in the future. Mr. Abrahale Asafau, a representative of the National Union of Eritrean Students and Youth branch in Sawa, in the higher education institutions, encouraged trainees to apply the knowledge they acquired in practical settings. Ms. Mansoura Ismail, head of the National Union of Eritrean Youth and Students branch, stated that investing in youth development remains a priority for the union. She urged the trainees to use the skills they gained and to improve their livelihoods. The viewers will be back with the international news shortly. Just stay tuned. Welcome back. U.S. President Donald Trump has threatened Moscow with a new round of large-scale sanctions until Ukraine's ceasefire is reached. The restriction would target the Russian banking sector and include tariffs on the country's foreign trade, he announced in the post on Truth Social on Friday. According to Trump, the Russian military is absolutely pounding Ukraine on battlefield right now. Based on that, he said he was strongly considering slapping Russia with another round of sanctions until a ceasefire is final settlement agreement on peace is reached in the Ukraine conflict. The U.S. president demanded both Moscow and Kyiv to get negotiation table right now before it is too late. This comes after the U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent called on sanctions imposed under Trump prototype Joe Biden egregiously weak. Washington is prepared to tighten them up, and the official told the Economic Club of New York on Thursday. The Trump administration will not hesitate to go all in should it provide leverage in peace negotiation, Bessent said. Russia also said this week that Eastern sanctions against Moscow would have to be lifted to mend relations between U.S. and Russia. Both nations agreed to work in restoring ties following a high-level meeting in Saudi Arabia last month. Russia also repeatedly stated that it was open to peace talks but has opposed a temporary ceasefire with Kyiv, arguing that true settlement of the conflict requires a permanent long-term solution addressing the root causes. Now, last news. 3 days of clashes between forces from Syria new government and fighters loyal to the ousted dictator Bashar al-Assad have killed more than 300 civilians and scored fighters from both sides, a war monitoring group said on Saturday. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights reported that military personnel, opposition fighters, and civilians were among those killed as the government forces continued their crackdown on fragments of the former regime military fractions in the governments of Latakia, Toritos, and Hama. The clashes erupted after gunmen ambushed military forces, checkpoints, and headquarters along the coastline, in the observatory said. The observatory indicated that additional reinforcements and heavy weaponry have been deployed to key flashpoints as fighters remain ongoing in rural Latakia and Tartes. The observatory said the clashes marked the deadliest escalation since the fall of the previous government last December. The viewers, we've come to the end of tonight's news. Let's have a quick recap of the headlines. International Women's Day celebrated in the national level. International Women's Day celebrated in Assab subzone. U.S. threatens Russia with new sanctions. And days of clashes kill more than 300 civilians in Syria. That wraps up our stories for tonight. Thanks for watching and have a good night.